Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wish's weekly webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today I am excited to bring you more from our friends at Lavinia Stamps. These are gorgeous stamps, fairies and fantasy. They're really beautiful. I can't wait to show you what we've come up with, so come play with us. So if you watched our vlog yesterday, you saw some more of the Lavinia stamps. Today we're going to be focusing a lot on backgrounds and how to create your own background to showcase these beautiful stamps. These are actually some examples that were sent to us by the designers from Lavinia Stamps. This one is the Fairy Hive stamp that I featured yesterday. As you can see, just gorgeous, and they did a taping off technique, and then they did the background, and we're going to show you a taping off technique today that Debbie did. And then this beautiful seahorse. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? And I don't know if you can see, but it's very sparkly and very beautiful. Also got, this one is, I have to peek and make sure which kind this one is. This is Winifred. Oh, that's so cute. Winifred, and this beautiful tag background with a created background is gorgeous. Then we've also got this beautiful tree. This one is called Sacred Tree. The Sacred Tree, just gorgeous with this background and the bats and the dragons and the toadstools, really beautiful. And then this is a card also using the tree that my friend Debbie made with beautiful fairies, and it's got lots of sparkle on it. And we're going to show you how to create this taped off background technique today. And I'm going to go through and show you the rest of these stamps. This one is Aria that goes with Sacred Tree. And then also this one is the Fairy Orchid set. She used that right down here in the corner. This beautiful greeting, fairy dust is like love, it creates magic whenever you give it away. Beautiful, she placed that there. And then these adorable little fairies, and they are called Rory and Darcy set. And then of course you've got this little star cluster, which she had coming up between the fairies, just gorgeous. So let's get started on how to create this background. There we go. We're going to get messy, so we're going to use our craft sheet today, and I'm going to keep these stamps handy. So the first thing Debbie taught me how to do this, and the first thing she did is start off with, from Hunky Dory, this lightweight essential cardstock, and it's great for stamping. It's not as porous as a regular cardstock, so we found that it doesn't really soak up that ink as much as regular cardstock. And to give you an example, here is some of the background that Debbie used using this Hunky Dory cardstock. And then I went home last night and I think I'm going to do that too. And so I used some, but I just used regular cardstock, just something that I had at home. It's a completely different look because this cardstock, even though it was a heavier weight cardstock, it was a very porous, and it just sucked up those inks. Like I set it down and just whoosh, that was it. So I learned something new, that there was a drastic difference there. This is how that same pattern looked by using the lightweight cardstock. So other backgrounds. So as you can see, none of mine, using the exact same ink and the exact same technique, slightly different cardstocks on each one, they turned out differently. So as we go through this today, remember my inking is going to look different than Debbie's on her original. Yours is going to look different than mine, but they all create their own unique way of doing it. So let's start off by getting right to the ink pads that were used. Let's see. Oh, got to get one out of another bag here because I borrowed that from something else. This is where I'm using 3 different Harmony ink pads from Spectrum Noir, and this one is the Honey Pot ink pad, and then this one is the Damson Wine, and the Midnight ink pad. I should also mention that the ink pad that she used to stamp all of her fairy stamps in the tree, there's the silhouette look. She definitely thought that using, and for this particular technique, the waterproof dye ink from Finesse, it's just black, was great to use on this because we are dealing with a lot of wet and cardstock here, even though we let it dry. So let's get right to it. The first thing I did is take the Honey Pot and do a little bit right on the center. Now you're going to need either like a craft mat or a glass cutting mat or something like that to do this. And then she used the damson wine around the outside edges of that. So we just went like that. And then here's the midnight going around the outside edges of that. Okay, it's okay if you overlap them. All right, so then I just took a piece of the lightweight cardstock and I just used some old washi tape that I had. It's about 3/4 of an inch wide, and that's going to determine how wide your border is. So I'm just lining the bottom edge of the washi tape up with the bottom edge of the cardstock. And then it's important, well, I already got started with a smudge there, so it's important that you make sure that all of the edges are really sealed, because this is a very wet project and we don't want it to sneak under there. The other thing is that we're using washi tape or painter's tape because it peels off very easily and doesn't stick to the cardstock. So it's providing us our mask, but it's not going to tear up the cardstock. Now I've got a mister. I'm going to mist that. Lots of water. Okay. And we're just going to take this, turn it upside down, set that right in the center so that that yellow is roughly in the center here. Okay. Up. Ooh, that's pretty. I tend to be a little more light-handed when it comes to inking and things than Debbie does. And I think that's because I'm the one like reproducing her stuff. So I'm always a little like, oh, how heavy should I go? So this is a lot lighter than hers. That's okay. All right, so we can actually do that again. Wiping off some excess here. And I've got some dry paper towels. Okay, give it a little blot. Okay, so that's just going to dry, and we're going to clean up what we've got going on here. All right, there we go. All right, so the next step, I get my one that's dry here, you guys. Here we go. This will work. So this one has got, actually this is a good lesson for you. I didn't anchor my washi tape down enough on this outside edge, so I got a little bit of a blue smudge. So I just have to cut that off. And then on this one, find it. On the next step, you'll notice I'll point out another mistake I did, but how we're just gonna roll with it. Okay, so we get to this part here, and then the next step is we're going to bring in our splatter brush. And these have been really popular. If you find that when you try to order one of these that they're out of stock, don't just put your email address in on that page and they'll let you know when they're back in stock, because they've just been wildly popular. This is from Tim Holtz, sort of the master of mixed media. So we're taking this midnight color, just putting a little bit on the side there, and we're just going to make some liquid here with this midnight color. And oh, I already did it again. Go. And you want to leave, for this next step, you want to leave your washi tape in place. So this is all part of it while it's being really wet. And I'm going to do my splatter just kind of in the center here. And you want to get this wet, and then you want to pull back on the bottom. You want to pull back your bristles. Get those nice splatters. Here we go. All right, now we're going to do another layer of splatter. This time we're going to use this great product. This is Sparkle by Spectrum Noir. It's a sparkle ink, and this shade is, wow, I cannot read this. It is Moonstone. It's got a little marbly thing in there, so you mix it up because it's got a lot of sediment. That sparkly stuff sinks to the bottom. You want to give it a good stir. Okay, now you can go ahead and just pour a little bit. We're talking like a drop. That's all we need. Right. Drop, drop, drop. And then we're pulling back the bristles again. And this is just going to give a different layer or a different texture of spatter. Okay. There we go. So once we get to that point, we're going to let this dry, and we're going to go ahead and take off the washi tape. And it's giving you that really nice, clean edge. I would recommend you make sure your hands are really clean before you do this, because I can tell I'm already leaving a smudge on the side there. There we go. All right, so that's going to be the background. And at this point, we're going to stamp on that. All right, now let me show you the background that I did at home that's a little too dark, okay? Two things. Number one, it was a little too dark, would still work. But the other thing is I removed my washi tape and then did the splattering. Okay, so my splattering was a little bigger and my splattering went off the edge there. So this will still totally work, it'll be fine, but lesson learned, okay? So here's the same idea. Okay, also took my washi tape off. Now here I've stamped the background. So you've got the tree, the fairies, and I even stamped the little, what were these called again? These were the fairy orchid set. Took one of those and stamped them in a blue and a green while the washi tape was still on. Okay, so that way I stamped those first and then took off the washi tape. Then we stamped these black bold images, and we used the fairy, little fairy guys, the tree, and this aria one. Okay, and then used both the midnight and the damps and wine to stamp all these little stars going off the top. And I thought they worked pretty well with my spatters. Okay, so now this last part is we're going to take a small brush and paint using this sparkle paint again, and just painting those wings so that they have another layer of color on them. Very, very pretty. Probably did 2 coats of that. And then this is another great product. This is Cosmic Shimmer Luna Paste, and this is Moonlight Pearl. Just wiping my brush off here so I don't get a bunch of blue in here. Here we go. And Debbie put that right here on each one of these little orchids. There we go. And she also painted that among the stars, just little dots of that among the stars. So that there was shimmer there as well. Go. Very pretty. So, oh, I should also show you that she painted the little fairy's wings as well. So when we get to this point, then Debbie added the greeting right here at the top and just kind of overlapped into that side using the midnight ink. Right, so as you can see, lots of techniques to create the background, and because we came up with so many different kinds of backgrounds, using the same 3 ink pads, using the spatter brush, that you can have all kinds of fun creating your own looks too. So we also want to talk about adding this wonderful moon to the background, and that's sort of the last step here. So we have this 3-inch circle that was just cut from a scrap piece of acetate, using the hot off the press scallops and circle dies. So I'm going to put that right here, centering that right there. So I want to get the fairy in, but I don't want to get the larger fairy in. And I'm using the midnight ink pad and a blending brush. I'm just going to put a finger right there, okay, and just going around that outside edge. I'm probably getting ink about 1/4 to 1/2 inch around the edge. It's going right over that tree down towards the bottom. Don't really want to get any on the white area below. And then as we get towards the other fairy, don't want to really go into her face, so it'll kind of little thinner there. There we go. And then when you take it off, bang. Isn't that fun? So easy to do using that masking technique. And then you just got this great moon there as well. Go. This first card that Debbie did uses the same technique, but she used watercolor paper as her background instead of the cardstock. So she also used these stamps. This one is called the Tree Goddess Luna. This is Spring Trees. This is Vine. And then this one is Fairy Spells, and it's got great words like celestial and fairy spells, mythical, magical, enchanted dreams. Very pretty. So what she did is she created her background first. So let's start with that. We need to jump right in and use our craft mat again. Also, shimmer shakers instead of ink pads. So we're going to open these shimmer shakers up, dust the background. Notice it's just nice to just give it a little tap. Oh, I should mention what colors these are. This is raspberry. This one is tangy tangerine. Okay. A little lower here. All right, there we go. And also a little bit of pure gold. All right, now I'm going to give this a good mist. All right, lots of water. All right, so starting off with the cardstock, we're just going to go, or rather, the watercolor paper. Going to put that face down. We didn't do any taping off with washi tape. We're just covering the entire surface. There we go. All right, I like that very much. I'm going to go ahead and get some of the other bits around the outside edge. I want to use all of this that I can. Go. Okay, now I'm going to clean this up. Oops. Ordinarily, I would make sure to use all those good bits of colored cosmic shimmer shakers, but we need to move on. That's unfortunate. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of the gold directly onto the surface because I really wasn't happy with like how subtle that was. There we go. And then sort of blot that down. Even give it a little. Now, as I said before, I tend to be a little light with my colors because here's Debbie's, okay? I think maybe I added a little too much water. So you can just kind of keep building up and adding color. Let's put this one over here, grab another wipe, and then we're going to get right to the stamping part. Here we go. All right, so once this part is done, then Debbie took the trees right here, and she stamped those using the water reactive Seal Brown color. She didn't use it for the water reactive properties, just the color. So this is nice and dry. It probably dried for half of an hour. And then also used the vine stamp to go all the way around. So she actually did that first before she added the trees. And she used the Bordeaux and the plum color to do that. So let's go ahead just stamped like that all the way around the edges. I'm going to stop there and do the other color. And then just right on top of that one. Good. And then, you see she also used the honey pot color. Just did a little bit of honey pot like that. Okay. Oops. Got ink pads flying everywhere. All right, so then at that point, once she's got her border all the way around, she also added she stamped and embossed this wonderful fairy branch extending off the edge. So that would have gone right about there. She used black embossing powder, also translucent clear embossing ink, and then also did the wings. So it looks as if she stamped the entire thing with the black and then heated that and then went back over this wings only with the copper tinsel embossing powder. So that's why that has lots of shimmer. Really beautiful. I also see that she used the orb stamp, which I forgot to grab, but the orb stamp is stamped here in the tree branch and all around. Very, very beautiful. And then at that point, she also, after stamping the trees, she also stamped the greeting. I keep calling it a greeting. It's fairy words, fairy spells all the way around the edges. Beautiful card. We've got a great money saver on these products today and all these wonderful stamps. So I would encourage you to check out the money saver. It's on the right side of your screen. And if you're watching us on YouTube, just look below in the description box and click on the Money Saver link. And there's also a link to paperwishes.com where you can find lots more videos and lots more fun things to play with. So thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.